Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. In my very last video, I highlighted that XRP, and this is just data, mind you, XRP is outperforming broader crypto markets, specifically the entire altcoin market, and hitting a particular metric for the first time in history. I don't want to rehash that whole video. That's not the reason I'm opening by mentioning this. I encourage you to check out that video, yes, because I will tell you that although there's no shortage of people that are disappointed that XRP didn't just run straight on up to a new all-time high after we got XRP Victory Day, thanks to Judge Torres on July 13th, just a little over a month ago, you know, the defeat of the SEC. I understand people not happy with that, but you got to understand, even with XRP getting down to whatever it was, 58 or 59 cents, you must understand, and this is why you should watch the last video, XRP has been outperforming despite all that. And so I go into great detail as to why on a number of metrics, actually. But let me share with you in this video another reason to be incredibly thrilled, I personally believe, because XRP has always moved in tandem with broader crypto markets, just in a general sense, directionally. And I understand percentage-wise XRP's been doing better than Bitcoin this year and ETH, so on and so forth. But directionally, it does the same thing, and Bitcoin does lead the market. Okay. Well, let me share with you another reason why, if things go in a particular way, crypto markets take off. XRP would be, if you look at all the top 10 cryptocurrencies by market cap in particular, I'd be willing to hazard a guess that XRP is going to reap the most benefit, perhaps. And there's no way to know for sure. I'm not going to make a price prediction or anything like that. But it's just XRP price is so artificially suppressed even today because you can't just like snap of a finger, undo all of the damage that was done for 2.5 years. But I think one of the greatest catalysts that could possibly be for the crypto space, and this would be so positive for XRP now that it's unshackled, now that it has that legal clarity, it's the approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. And I'm not saying that this would, in the blink of an eye, rocket Bitcoin to a new all-time high with XRP, following directionally and blazing up to a new all-time. I'm not saying it works necessarily like that. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that this would open up the floodgates for money to, I don't know what the time will be, whether it's 6 months or a year, whatever it takes. A crazy amount of institutional money can flow in. And to me, it seems like a virtual certainty that if you fast forward 12 months compared to today, I'll just pick an easy number, just say it's 12 months into the future, there will be a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, I don't know for sure what that's going to look like, and that's why I wanted to highlight this video, to highlight this topic in the video, because it could be BlackRock, it could be that a number of entities businesses get approved all at once, all in one go, or it could be the case that Grayscale, 2 days from now, defeats the SEC and we get news that their Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is going to be converted to an ETF. Or that happens in 2 days. I am so glad that I'm in crypto, and specifically XRP, well before any of these things have happened. I'm just saying here, look at this headline from Fortune. Bitcoin ETF ruling expected this week, and with it, a major jolt to crypto markets. And so look at what Attorney John Deaton had to say here. Be on the lookout today or Friday for a potential decision. This should hopefully give crypto even more momentum. Even though arbitrary and capricious is a high and difficult standard to meet, I have always maintained the SEC will lose if someone fought back regarding a spot Bitcoin ETF. And that was before the SEC approved a 2x levered futures ETF. The surprise will be if the SEC doesn't lose. Now, I hope that Attorney Deaton's right. I'm just going to refrain from making a prediction as far as what's going to happen in the Grayscale case. I mean, as far as what I think should happen, that's pretty obvious, right? Like, Grayscale's in the right here. The SEC has just been disgusting, and they're just contemptuous, not just towards crypto, certainly towards crypto, but basically for all citizens in the United States. They look down on you. They think that you're too stupid for your own good, and you need quote-unquote protection. But not just that. Their own special brand of protection actually harms you, so there's that. That's why I'm saying it's like this weird blend of we need to protect you because we're the SEC, but also their protection, a lot of it anyway, unless they're going after actual scammers, which we'd actually support. Outside of that, they seem to be doing a whole lot more harm than good here. And so you have the SEC, which approved a 2x levered Bitcoin futures ETF, as if that's not risky for the typical investor. But a spot Bitcoin ETF, the answer is no on that one. What in the ever-loving hell? And so that's why part of the legal argument here is that what the SEC's been doing, it's arbitrary and capricious, as John Deaton wrote right there. And yeah, fine, high legal standard to meet. But John Deaton doesn't think that it's something that's hard to prove in this particular case. And so I actually responded to him and I wrote, the ego of the SEC. They're in such a robust echo chamber, I speculate they genuinely believe at least some of their BS. And I'm censoring myself there, because there could be children's in the background and you're welcome, parents. And Attorney Deaton wrote back to me and he said, "You're 100% accurate, Matt. When 75,000 holders said, hey, go after Ripple all you want to, but leave us token holders out of it, they didn't pause 1 second to ask themselves, are we hurting the people we took an oath to protect? Instead, they had actual contempt for us, demonstrated by how they attacked us, and assumed that they knew what was best for us. In their warped minds, they must protect us from ourselves because we are too stupid to know what we want to invest in. Without a doubt, there are some good people working at the SEC, but some of the senior enforcement lawyers like JT and SEC enforcement at SEC and ENF director, enforcement director, are prima donna elitists who operate with a lack of integrity. That's spot on. Now, the good news is, especially in recent months, and maybe dating back to, I can't remember the first positive sounding news regarding this lawsuit popped up. I can't remember if it was March because, I don't know, time passes and it kind of blurs together. I think it was March, maybe it was April, I don't know. But there was some word coming out of like the Grayscale case here against the SEC, and it seemed pretty clear that the SEC, the judge rather, at least at that particular moment in time, not so thrilled with the SEC, not really buying what they're selling. And this is something we keep seeing again and again and again. The SEC just tremendously overreaching in case after case after case, and now they finally got their first quote unquote loss, and it's certainly like that's putting it lightly though. It's a devastating blow for the SEC. They reached so far, and they lost, and they didn't realize it because they're in their own little echo chamber, right? But see, that's why I won't be surprised if Attorney Deaton's prediction comes true. And I don't pretend to know, but my God, this would be fantastic. And even more so, I think, ultimately for XRP, because I think about the broader implications for crypto markets, which is why I wanted to run through some of the specifics here. And again, this could happen in short order. And not that just like we, on July 13th, just as we saw with the positive news, it's not that we got a new all-time high with XRP immediately. That's clearly not how this works. We know that for sure. It's reasonable to kind of question, okay, is this a big enough deal? Well, maybe it would. Well, we know what the answer is now. And so I just say conceptually similarly here, maybe you see a big run in crypto in general if this happens. I don't know. Maybe that's the case. But I'm just saying, even if so, it's more about the broader implications over a longer period of time. That's what excites me even more than the initial jump, should we get an initial jump, if we get this positive news, if it actually unfolds here. And so here was an article from The Street covering this topic. It's titled, Lawsuit Over Grayscale Bitcoin Trust Conversion to an ETF Expected to Resolve This Week as Discount Persists. A range of Bloomberg analysts and legal experts have predicted that a decision on Grayscale's lawsuit with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission seeking to convert its Bitcoin trust, GBTC, into a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund will be made by the end of the week. GBTC has traded at a discount to its net asset value for years. It's NAV for short, net asset value. The SEC rejected Grayscale's application to convert GBTC into a spot Bitcoin ETF in June 2022, and the firm subsequently sued the agency. Bloomberg's senior ETF analyst Eric Balkunas cited finance attorney Scott Johnson in predicting a forthcoming decision on that lawsuit, likely on Friday, August 18th. Even with such a decision on Grayscale's lawsuit this week, approval of the first ever spot Bitcoin ETF in the US seems unlikely given the history of this application. And so that flies in the face of what Attorney Deaton thinks. And that's fine. I don't pretend to know. I don't have any sort of legal background. I just play a lawyer on YouTube. It's fake, right? So I don't know. But I will say this. Even if this doesn't go well for Grayscale, the spot Bitcoin ETF is coming, son. I don't believe for a second that BlackRock would have been filing if they didn't have a virtual or actual certainty that they'd get approved ultimately for the spot Bitcoin ETF. And so that's why my number one bet is outside of this, BlackRock gets the first ETF. Although I admit here, like if this goes well, then it looks like Grayscale would just get it. That okay. Outside of that, my second place prediction would be that a number of, and I don't know how many it would be, but a number of firms that have applied for spot Bitcoin ETFs all get approved at the exact same moment. It's just like a blanket statement, you're all approved, because they all seem to be taking the same approach that BlackRock's taking now. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that particularly here. Anyway, piece continues. Grayscale wants to convert their Grayscale Bitcoin Trust GBTC into a big, giant Bitcoin ETF, explained George of Crypto R Us in the video above. And they keep getting denied, and they don't like it, and they don't like the SEC either, and they don't like Gary Gensler. Will we see a spot Bitcoin ETF? Will we see the SEC change its mind, he asked. If I had to guess, probably no. Well, again, I don't think you're going to see a mind change for any entity that's filed other than BlackRock, or if you just get because they see the writing on the wall and their effort to crush all things crypto in the U.S. not going so well for the SEC at this particular moment in time. If they see the writings on the wall and then they don't want to deal with a bunch of entities like BlackRock, some of the case of BlackRock, that's the company with the largest number of quantity of assets under management in terms of dollars on the planet, with something like $10 trillion in assets under management. So if you're the SEC and you don't want BlackRock and every other entity under the sun suing the bejesus out of you, and you want to save face and you're Kim Jong-Gensler and you're just worried about how things look for you, maybe you see the writing on the wall and you're like, okay, well, BlackRock gets approved, or X number of entities, whatever it would be, ends up getting approved because all their applications are more or less the same thing, and maybe it all happens at once. That's the reason I'm saying that. Things aren't good for the SEC, and I'm so happy to say that. I'm so happy, and I couldn't more fervently mean that. Things are not going well for the SEC. So anyway, getting back in the article, while a range of applications to offer spot Bitcoin ETFs are currently being considered by the SEC, led by BlackRock's, Grayscale's application is unique in that it seeks to convert an existing Bitcoin-focused financial product into a new one. With GBTC trading at a discount since February 2021, conversion to an ETF would be a boon for Grayscale. This is different too because this is converting a trust into an ETF, George explained, and in case you're wondering, that's the difference between a trust and an ETF. A trust is basically Bitcoin goes in and can never come out, and basically the trust was made to benefit the institutional people because they can buy at a discount and sell at a premium. But since the premium has turned negative, institutions actually don't want to buy at a discount because you can buy on an open market for less than what you can buy it from Grayscale for, he said. Now, if this is converted into an ETF, then it's more free-flowing, end quote. And so, look, I'll say this again, and I know I'm talking about a Bitcoin spot ETF, but I want to bring the point home once again here, in case I didn't sufficiently do it earlier in the video. Bitcoin leads crypto markets. Directionally, Bitcoin leads crypto, always has, and will for the indefinite future, I believe. Maybe not always, but for the indefinite future. So when you're talking about a multiplier effect and what something like this gigantic would mean for Bitcoin, fantastic for Bitcoin. But if you're talking about where's the money, if money starts flowing into crypto again, which I believe will be the case, don't you think that there's going to be a strong focus on XRP? If people see this as the catalyst, I guess I think you're going to get that much more excitement. Imagine this. Even if a bunch of the institutional money actually flows into the ETF, and then I understand, like, if the ETF is sold and say it's just on a traditional finance exchange, I understand that that money then doesn't circulate into large cap coins, mid cap coins, small cap coins, and you could say that's a negative, okay, but what about all of the rest of the money that's also flowing in, and they're all fighting for the same amount of Bitcoin? What happens to that money? Because there's going to be a bunch of people and a bunch of institutions that continue to flow more money into crypto as a result of this. So even if not all of it ends up cycling through the rest of the crypto markets, it's still positively going to impact everything else, I believe, just in a general sense. And I think XRP is going to be a way bigger winner. And then on top of that, and I don't pretend to know when this would happen, but I believe there's going to be an XRP spot ETF. I don't know when. I've been expecting that it would occur for some, well, again, not pretending to know when, but I've been saying on this channel, I've been saying it publicly, probably since shortly after I got into crypto, that I do believe at some unknown point in the future there will be one. And why wouldn't there be? XRP, it's just a decentralized cryptocurrency. It's going to be an ETF for pretty much anything that's going to have staying power, wouldn't you think anyway? I think so. And what will that mean for supply and demand? If XRP could run up to almost $4 with way less than like a fraction of a percent of humans having ever held at any point in history, what happens when even more money flows in, more institutions than ever before, and XRP has legal clarity? What do you think? You tell me. I'm asking. I'm not making the price prediction. You guys tell me. But I'm guessing it's probably going to be good. I'll hazard that guess. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.